There's so many things that I miss.
Just to wake up in the morning.
I miss the smell of the salt water.
Of the cove, and hear Aunt Bessie talking to herself. And to hear poor Uncle John mumbling wishes to O'Nell. It made me feel like everything was fine.
Cod tongues. I miss cod tongues. I've had cod tongues flown out here.
It's here I'm gonna stay. I've searched for all the reasons why I should go away, but I haven't got the thirst for all those modern day toys, so I'll just take my chances with those.
That's what I miss the most. And that's what I think everyone misses when they go somewhere with their family.
Following a little brook as it trickles to the shore in the autumn when the trees are flaming red.
I miss sleeping in a building that's 200 years old. I miss walking down streets knowing that my father was on them, and my grandfather before that.
This island that we cling to has been handed down with pride.
Oh, the fog and the cold and the freezing rain. I wish it would freeze.
And the unemployment.
Unemployment, yes.
I really miss that unemployment.
Totally.
You got to work here.
Yeah, that's right.
Goodbyes, and I'll stay and take my chances with those saltwater joys. How can I leave those mornings with the sunrise on the cove and the gulls like flies surrounding Clayton's wharf?
People have always seen it as a very poor province or a poor place, and it is in a lot of respects, just financially though, but it's not a poor place spiritually.
It's so much a part of you. I mean, the cultural differences are great. You're reminded you're a Newfoundlander every time you talk to somebody.
I think Canadians consider us a little ignorant, not in a bad way, but just not up to date.
The older I get, the more clearly I see the traditions that really come from being a Newfoundlander.
With our accent as strong as it can be, it makes it harder for people to understand us, so there's a mystery that goes with it as well.
Oh Jesus, when I was a kid, my sonny boy, we had 3, even remember in those days, before we were all proud to be Newfoundlanders,
Yeah.
we had 3 trees in our backyard, and my mother used to say, "How many trees?" And I'd say, "3 trees." She'd say, "No, how many trees?" 3 trees.
I think the reason why Newfoundland humor is so good is because we're from Irish descent, and we're wicked wordsmiths, and we can weave things around stories that'll just bring you like arse over tea kettle, you know?
We tease people constantly, especially if we like them. We tease them, and they think that we're being horrible and
The more you like somebody, the more you attack. Because you know.
And we attack out of love.
It's because you respect them.
Yes.
And it really does. Like when you come to the West Coast, people really have a hard time with that.
The more settled I get, the more I want to do stupid things like get a Newfoundland spoon rack. I don't have any spoons to put in it. I've got a couple of pieces of rock from Newfoundland.
Actually, it's funny, I bring pieces of rock everywhere with me, and I've always had a piece of Newfoundland with me everywhere I've lived, and I still do here. And then I also have little rocks on the ledge from Galliano, and I always kind of carry those things around. So I don't know, the landscape here really speaks to me, and as it does in Newfoundland, like every time I go home, I always have this rush of feeling, which I think a lot of people do. Just driving over the hills, I always get this rush of, I almost start crying sometimes. It's a really silly thing. I'll be on the plane and I'll be landing and I almost start to cry just because it's such a dramatic landscape. We're drawn to the water for sure. A Newfoundlander in the middle of, you will not meet very many Newfoundlanders who are happy being away from the ocean.
Sea, oh the sea, the wonderful
Don't start.
sea. Well, that
There's
is
the songs
absolute,
you hate.
That's the song I hate, but that song actually has a message.
Yeah, it is true.
It's because of isolation. You know, you keep your culture strong through isolation, and it sounds like a terrible thing, but that's the way it happens. 500 years of...
That's what develops a culture.
I feel bad that my grandparents are missing out on them. I really do, and I feel guilty. But when I call home and I talk to them and I realize that there's no work there, our life would be so much harder if we were there right now. And this is such a wonderful place for the kids to be.
I say poverty and desperation. That's why I left.
Desperation, anyway.
Desperation. I
Island
I
life for
also
sure.
left a
It's
couple of
true.
times, and I had to go back because I ended up on the prairies.
Yeah, gee.
And I couldn't handle it. It's like, you shouldn't be able to see that far. And so when I came here, it's like island life. You're in a little community that has a definition, and you belong to it. It's just like you belong to Newfoundland, you belong to Galliano.
I love the fact that there's other Newfoundlanders on this island, because I can embrace my culture as a Newfoundlander and also feel comforted by the fact that there's other people that left their nation that were uncomfortable there as well.
We actually have enough now to have a Newfoundland club. We're just not clubby.
Yeah. Lovely.
We club seals, but
But we love them.
that's why we club them. The more we love, the more we club.
I don't know, it's really interesting. I met this older man when I was out traveling around the bay once when I was visiting home. And I couldn't even tell you how old he was, number one, and I could barely understand him. But he didn't ask me where I was from, he asked me where I belonged to.
I doubt you'll ever find a Newfoundlander who would answer no to whether or not they're still Newfoundlanders, no matter how long they've been away.
I still think I belong in Newfoundland, even though I love it here.
Even after 10 years of being on Galliano, I say I'm a Newfoundlander.
Yeah.
Canadian second, Newfoundlander first.
Young girl in clover, giving too much away, spoke of her heart bleeding and the things that don't stay. She looked to the singer to hear him say, right, right, I move on, right, right, I move on, love, right, I move on. Well, she went a-looking for love in the fields, to her needing and wandering she always did yield, but oh, she leaves alone, she leaves alone.